Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm actually not sure if it starts. There always seems to be a delay in the beginning of the live stream. So just give it a second and we'll let it load and then we'll continue with the video for today. Hello. Um, I'm not sure if it worked or not. I think, okay, now it's working. Okay. It's very annoying. There's the first 15 seconds of streaming seems to go completely unnoticed and then it just starts streaming all of a sudden. It's like, okay, did it record or not record? Anyways, today's video I want to talk about Greece, but not only Greece. And I want to talk about something I've been telling you for the last 2 years, and that's why I called this video 2 years ago. I made a video 2 years ago that stated that when America started giving Russia a bunch of crap about the Ukraine, that I already knew back then that it had nothing to do with people, freedom, liberty, democracy, nothing to do with that at all. And everything to do with conglomerates wanted to make a massive takeover. You see, I see the world a bit different than you do. I see the world as a giant Risk board game. If you know what the board game Risk is, then you know what I'm talking about. This is the same way that God sees the world, because he even says that he sees the world in a nationalistic point of view. Meaning that things happen to one country and not to another. There's weathers in one country and not the other. If you look, for example, at Jerusalem and Israel, you'll see that Israel is very green and very coming to life compared to the countries surrounding it that is all desert wasteland. Back to Greece. Okay, so I already told you all that when Russia was going to be attacked by America, or that's what the plan was, and they were using the European Union to do so, that the Ukraine really wasn't something they wanted to have, the European Union. They just wanted to have the wheat. You see, the Ukraine grows the wheat for Europe. Almost all of Russia and Europe gets their wheat from the Ukraine. So if the Americans can come in with their GMO and pollute the crop, then they're able to establish what they want to do. And if you remember very well, the Georgia Guidestones. You see, when somebody puts something in stone, that means I want it to happen and must be fulfilled. It is written in stone. Think about that. Just think about that phrase, written in stone. It's the only thing that would always be there, and nothing could ever destroy it except for something very powerful. Point being, it's etched in stone. So they want to make sure that this happens. And one of those things is to kill off 99% of the population on Earth. So if they can get their GMO hands on the Ukrainian wheat, they can start serving Europe GMO food. So the Ukraine being taken over had nothing really to do with politics or freedom fighting or liberty or democracy. It had everything to do to take over the grain, as I stated 2 years ago. And now we see Monsanto trying to enter it in right now and trying to take over, and hopefully they will fail. So anyways, about Greece, they're trying to say that they want to help restore Greece, bring it back to what its former glory. But the strange thing is, if you really want to do that, you would build up infrastructure. You wouldn't supply a country that keeps sinking in debt with more money to go in debt with. You would take international corporations and you bring them to the country. You'd start building up infrastructure and jobs, and over time the country would get stronger. You don't. It's like you don't bring buckets of water onto a sinking ship. It's already sinking. So the more water you bring into it, obviously the quicker it's going to sink. But yet the world keeps sending Greece money as if that's supposed to help them. What would really help them is international corporations come inside there and start paying taxes to the Greece so that they can pay off their debt. This is all planned. It's all done to the world on purpose. There is no accident here. As you see here, that Goldman Sachs made 450 million euros from the crashing of the Greek economy. It should return the profits. It should return the profits, but it never will. People just don't seem to get it. What is the point to have all the money in the world if there's nothing left to spend it on? Because the people that buy you things and make you things, the people that make you things will no longer be able to provide those things if they don't have enough money to provide for their families and their own selves. They will die of starvation. So if you want your $10 million speedboat, who's going to make it for you? I don't understand the hoarding of the world. I mean, really, what's it all going to come down to? Is it like the Highlander here, where Only the strongest will prevail. One will survive. The rest will all die. Are the elites going to go head to head when they kill off the rest of the population? Is that the plan? And then whoever has the money there wins the ultimate prize of being completely alone left on the planet? I mean, okay, let's just say that the elites right now are going to go after humanity, which they are. After humanity's gone, there's only going to be the elites left. Clearly, they're going to go after each other. And how obvious is it that the Rothschild family is clearly the family that is being used by the devil directly to manipulate the world? This is a family that robbed the stock market and just got away with it. Try that today. Try to lie about the stock market and then crash the economy, then buy up all the stock really quick before everybody finds out what happened, and see if you don't end up in jail. Yet the Rothschilds did it and just got away with it. Not even a slap on the wrist. Everything is staged, folks. Everything is staged. These are real events, real suffering, real pain, and real acknowledgement should be given to these issues. But it's still all staged. And if you take out the people that are playing the game, playing the play, you finally could stop the bullshit and the crash. They like to make you think that the Greeks are very lazy and don't want to make enough money. But the truth is, they're laying sanctions on the country. Not only that, they're also taking in all. Let's say Greece makes 100 million a day. They're taking like 90 away just for the debt they have to pay, so they can never catch up. This is done deliberately. You know, and even in the Bible it speaks about the Jubilee year, which is coming, where all debt is finally released. Let's see what happens this year. I'm expecting a giant crash somewhere in the next month, September 23rd. So I'm thinking 35 days from now there's going to be a giant stock market crash. We will see. Knowing the devil, he'll either do it right on the day, a couple of days before, or a couple of days after. We will see. But the whole world is looking forward towards September 23rd right now to see what might happen, because there's supposed to be a lot of things happening. But, you know, when the Bible talks about the Shemitah year, it goes like this. If you own property in your lifetime, but something bad happened to you, and you lose your property, according to the Bible, you get it returned to you every 7 years. This is called the year of the Shemitah, where everything is reset back to the way it was. So you can never permanently lose something. Now we have created debt that can last a lifetime. But God doesn't work that way. He works every 7 years still, even though humanity has decided to keep a debt upon somebody's head for ages. God don't work that way. And if you look back to the history, you will see that since 2008 all the way back to 2001, all these things led every 7 years back led to a stock market crisis. Every 7 years, and that's God with the Shemitah year. And it basically is that humanity may sow the field for 6 years, but the 7th year you have to let the field rest. And if you don't let it rest, then you go into the next cycle, and you get 7 cycles of 7 years. But if you fail to let the land rest 49 years in a row, then God comes down with the Jubilee year, which is the 50th year, and he will set the record straight. The Jubilee does not have to be a destruction year. It could also be a year of prosper. We have to wait and see which way he will turn it. But he has clearly been giving America many, many signs that the destruction of the country is near. And they can continuously inflate the dollar right now to make themselves look strong, but it's backed by nothing. I mean, in 1 year, the dollar has gone from, I used to get $1.39 for every euro. Now I'm getting $1.10. So it's fluctuated 25 cents in the last year, which clearly indicates that it's a false inflation and it's a bubble. So when that bubble bursts, there's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of turmoil. Right now, Germany's already asking America for the gold back. There's many countries right now. Spain is asking for the gold back, and America's refusing. So it's going to get pretty interesting. I truly expect the stock market crash, though, on September 23rd. We will see. Anywhere between the 11th and the 23rd. And it's going to be a doozy, because we continuously, instead of building infrastructure, spend money on war. War is it's a consumable. You don't get it back. You don't get no return from war. When you shoot off a $10,000 bullet, you just blew away $10,000. That's the end of it. If you invest that $10,000 into an industry or into a corporation or or to a city, it's $10,000 that is returned to you in other forms. But America has spent most of their money nowadays on war and also donated a lot of money to Turkey to build a gigantic army, which is now the second greatest army in NATO. Thanks to Obama. Obama just sent 120 new F-25 or I can't remember, F-25, F-16, I forgot which one, but 112 of them he sent to Turkey. So he's funding Turkey right now at the expense of the American taxpayer, and they're going to use it against you one day. Wait and see. I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, what's going on? And yet the Christians know exactly what's going on, and we're trying to tell you all what's going on. We're not lying to you. All the evidence just backs us up. There's not a single piece of evidence that says that I'm lying or that I'm steering you the wrong way. I talk about issues that nobody else will talk about. I talk about real, genuine, serious issues here about the world because I see the world in a nationalistic point of view. When you see Jews attacking Palestinians, that's all you see. You see Jews attacking Palestinians. I see God attacking Lucifer. And that's how I look at the world, because I know there's a battle going on right now on this planet between Lucifer. So I always look at the world that way, and I can always see when God strikes and when Lucifer strikes. And I'm always cheering on when God strikes. When you know the hand of God, everything changes. Everything changes, folks. I'm telling you. You'll start noticing everything. Things that you never even would have paid attention to before, but it's just because you know the signature of God. He has a way of leaving this trail behind that says, yeah, it was me. So it's quite wonderful. But like if you see, like I said, I look at the world like a risk board, and let's say the risk board right now, Islam is green. I can see where all Islam is taking over the world right now. And it really looks like it's surrounding America, and it's going to take over if you don't repent and give up your terrible, terrible ways. And just like Jonathan Cahn had to say about the Freedom Tower in New York, how it's actually a defiance tower, and that on the highest point of America right now, President Obama wrote a quotation that destroyed destroyed Israel. I think it's quite fascinating to see what's going to happen with this world tower now. They destroyed two towers and built back one. It's in defiance of terrorism, but it's also in defiance of God, because God is the one that attacked. Once again, you see terroristic attack. I see God using certain elements to achieve the goals that he needs to achieve. I don't blame people for going to war. I blame the devil for steering them, and I cheer at God for steering them. That's how it works. I mean, it's real easy to say, if you look at the news, you go, oh, Jews killed 20 Palestinians last night, and you're going to feel bad for them, but at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, God clearly intervened there. Because, for example, in the Six-Day War, which you all don't know about, nobody really studies this, but in the Six-Day War, the Jews were Israel was completely surrounded from all angles. And Egypt attacked, Syria attacked, Jordan attacked. They all attacked Israel at the same time. And the Israelis were outnumbered 100 to 1. Seriously, 100 men against 1 man, against the Jew. And yet, miraculously, only after 6 days, the Jews won that war. And just last year, there was a newspaper clipping, a newspaper article, where a terrorist came out and said to the nations, and said to the mass media, that their God is deflecting their rockets in the middle of the air. That was an ISIS terrorist confessed that our God, Jehovah, Yahweh, the Father of Yeshua, is deflecting the rockets in mid-air. So, even they believe in our God. They believe more in our God than we do, because they're fighting against them. The feminists believe more in God than the average person does, because they're fighting against them. You have to see the battle. If you don't notice the battle, then you're never going to catch on to what's going on. So I'll sum it up for you right now. The homosexuals, the feminists, um, I can pretty much say Islam, they're all in on it together to create a Luciferian world because Sharia law is Luciferian. So you have all these elements right now trying to attack law, and meanwhile the good people are being completely pacified with political correctness. I mean, let's be honest, folks. You're basically tied down right now, completely tied down, and you're watching your country being butt raped, and it's screaming out to you, "Help me, save me, help me, save me," and you're tied down. That's what's going on with America right now. So the good people are being pacified with political correctness, and evil's just taking over. And there's going to have to come a time that you say, okay, I'm going to release my own bonds, and I'm not going to let political correctness stop me anymore. I've just got to wonder how many people have to be shot by police before you stop respecting authority, before you stop respecting that uniform. You know, I'm not trying to go out and say create war and chaos or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just saying, where is the line in the sand? When is enough enough? For example, in America they have the no-knock raid. And in the middle of the night, the police will come bursting into somebody's house, and they'll arrest the people inside the house, and they'll take all the guns and, do whatever they want to do with the people after they have them. But one man blew a cop's head off, and he was just recently acquitted of all charges. But that's my point, what I'm trying to make. When does the suit no longer hold any power? As is right now, you have the United Nations that is surrounding America. We know that Obama has bought over 200,000 guillotines. You have FEMA camps rising, you have earthquakes, you have animals dying. You have every biblical sign about Jesus Christ is soon to return. But I'm hoping there's not going to be another Holocaust first, and there just might be, if you're not careful and smart and see what is going on and wake up your neighbors and your friends to what's going on and break yourselves free of the bond of political correctness. Try to understand. If somebody gives you an order, okay, for political correctness, but they themselves do not follow their own order, then you do not have to follow it either. Your government is not following political correctness. Your president is not following political correctness. Nobody high up is following political correctness. But they have you, the second class and the first and the third class citizens, falling for political correctness. You pay taxes, they don't pay taxes. It should be what is good for the goose is good for the gander. And if they don't have to do it, you shouldn't have to do it. It's very simple. Yet you have allowed yourselves to be intimidated by authority figures, people carrying guns. I mean, in America, when you have open carry, people carry walking just down the street with a gun to show, hey, look, we're protecting our city. Some crazy ass woman will call the police, and the police will show up, starting harassing the open carry person. And I've been seeing this more and more on YouTube as well. That this is constantly happening. That freedom fighters are being belittled and held back while evil is taking over. And God says it very clear in the Bible that woe to those that do call evil good and good evil, because they're going to have a lot of troubles coming up. It seems like my stream just got cut off there for a second, it looks like. At least that's what the menu says here. It says live stream health is stream resumed. It looked like it broke off there anyways. Didn't want to keep this one too long. I have no idea how many people are even listening to me. But usually they look for my videos the next day after I make them. So I'll keep this one pretty short right now. I'll keep it at 20 minutes. I just wanted to make it very clear that if Europe really wanted to save Greece, they would build infrastructure and they would create job opportunities. They would not give a sinking ship a bunch of water buckets to hold on to. And that's what they're doing. Once you're in debt, debt has debt. It has interest. So if you're really deep in debt, you'll be paying a high interest. So all that money that you're giving to them is just going to the interest. It's not going to the original sum. So what you have to do then is you have to build an economy that the people then self-generate the money. So therefore, it'll be a constant stream, and they can pull themselves out of debt. But when you have a country that has no international corporations inside of them, and because of it's easier and cheaper in China, well, there you go. I mean, competition was great, but we've gone too far as humanity. We have started to care more about money than we do about human beings and human rights. There should be a cap where we just say enough, 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 enough. There should be a limit to greed when you consider the fact that there is not an overwhelming source of money out there. There is no unlimited source of money. There is a limit to how much money there is in the world. So maybe we should not allow everybody to just have as much as they want to. Maybe it should be a little bit equally spread out. Because the way that the world is right now, you all think, oh, it's not that bad. But the truth is, 99% have a lot less than the 1%. And the 1% really, really has a lot. We don't need royals in this world. We don't need presidents in this world. We don't need all these hoity-toity, posh leaders. We don't need all this. All we need is simple humanity, communities, and self-survival, and we will survive great as a species. We have become arrogant, we have become cocky, we have become full of ourselves, believing that we deserve to have all the greatest of the greatest of the greatest, when the truth is we're just lucky to be alive. And I think we take ourselves in our world for granted too much. This is War Fire signing off, saying have a great day, everyone. Take care. See you all tomorrow.